What is going on? Look at it.
Locked and loaded. Let's go. Yes.
Good morning, Omniverse. It looks like we got a couple special guests on today.
We have extras today in a different setting.
In a different setting. Why?
I don't know.
Well, I think we should start. Let's introduce
Yes.
our special guest.
Okay.
Well, my name is Heather Ormondi. I'm a lead manager at Flintco Construction, and I live in Oklahoma City.
And I am Maria Martin. I work at Robbins & Morton. I'm a Procore implementation specialist out of Birmingham, but everywhere.
I don't know anything about that.
All over the world.
We're going to have to talk because I have some Procore.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
I got you.
Already dancing.
So out there in the Omniverse, we're testing out a different mic system. So your observations and feedback about the audio is requested, please. And again, we've got two special guests. We're out here at the cabin.
Yes.
And we're having some fun, and we're about to have some. This is just the beginning of a lot of like uncomfortable, vulnerable stuff. So let's go. Let's see who's on. We got the chief marketeer, Steve Martin, says good morning, and then Jim. He says Ogun got a full house this morning. Absolutely, we do. And so Jim just won an award.
He did.
What was it?
And he said, I was sitting with him Wednesday, and he said the name of it. I don't know, but it was an all-company award that it had. Just tell me what it was called, and then I'll go from there. But and they were like nominees, and then out of all the nominees, he was like the winner, and it was a big trophy, and I'm gonna say it was like the most amazing person that does the best things and celebrates people and loves people. That kind of award.
So like a table dancing award.
Yes, that is exactly.
Awesome.
I feel like that's exactly what I was saying.
I think I remember hearing like servant leader of the year or something. Right?
Yeah, what I said.
Just simple stuff. So, here it is.
Here, core value.
Core value. Thank you,
Exactly
Adam.
what I just said.
Yeah, it's exactly what you said.
Jesse's full house. Please.
Hey, look at I like that, Adam. Just full of it. I don't know how I'm going to be dealing with how unfortunate I am. I'm joking. Well, it's amazing to be here. And then we got YouTube user says, don't forget about me.
So
YouTube user, for whatever, it's probably a privacy setting thing or a security setting thing you have on your deal. We don't know who your name is, what your name is. So if you will put your name in,
yes,
that would be awesome because I want to know who you are.
Oh, it's probably my daughter. Maybe. She just pops up randomly.
Yeah. So who else? We show some love, Mr. Bradley.
Good morning, Bradley.
Good morning. How you doing, my man? And then, it's Alex. It is Alex. Yes, Alex. Good morning.
Don't forget about me. She is here with us, hanging out.
Yes, so we're having fun. We'll talk about that in a second.
Yes.
Steve Martin says, hi, Maria. Hi. Sister. And then we got Miss Sarah.
Yes.
Says, good morning. We can hear.
Good.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Sarah.
Yes.
Coming in from Decula, Georgia. Or it's like Dracula without the. So I said it right.
You did. I was like, look at
I'm multilingual, girl. I got skills. You don't even know.
You've been hanging with Chewy too much.
So on the Chewy note, he auditioned to read the dedication of the Lean in Love book for the audio book that's going to be coming out. And he doesn't know. He's probably going to be upset about it. But I'm going to air that tomorrow. We'll be posting his audition to read the intro. He doesn't know that we've already selected.
Yeah, he didn't make it. He made the cut.
He didn't make the cut, but we want to celebrate him anyway.
Yes.
So y'all keep an eye out for that
He
tomorrow.
got a little vulnerable. So you definitely want to celebrate that.
Oh, man. Okay, so Denver, what's going on, Mr. Denver
Good
Waters
morning.
coming in? Oh, Mr. Bruce. Oh, George Hunt coming in. What's up, George? Hey, where did Bruce go, Adam? I lost him. Bruce Baxton, thank you, my friend. Fixing to connect with him. There we are.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll come back to the comments.
Oh, okay, wait, but one more, because didn't Adam just do, or wasn't he just on a podcast?
Who's that? That guy?
Justin, didn't we just, wasn't
That
he?
name doesn't even sound familiar.
I feel like he was on a podcast or
Yes,
something.
yes. Adam, we just interviewed him on Hoots on the Ground. And then he posted like a little clip of him. And y'all, if y'all don't know Justin yet, a lot of us have connected with him in the after parties. Solid dude, deep thinker who asked brilliant questions.
Yes.
He helped me get through or maybe better understand the issue I had around goals on that previous conversation on goals. So Justin's a baller.
Yes.
And so
Connect.
with him, follow him, support him.
Yes.
So Jen, question.
Oh, gosh.
Since you're the one that like plans all these things and we're like on 8 month 17
Of a
of our
20-year plan.
98-year plan,
Yes.
what was your thinking when you selected this topic 17 months ago?
Yes. So were we talking about this last night? Like what we're going to talk about today?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we clarified it. I think this topic started with you and I having a conversation on kind of like reflecting on some of the groups we're in and our tribe, and also some things we're dealing with at work and people that are in our space, that there are times when we are engaging with people and, whether it's trying to deal with a problem or, we're trying to be there to help them. It feels sometimes like it's a dance, like we're kind of flowing back and forth. You and I, as we do the live streams and things like that. And then sometimes it feels like we're wrestling with someone else. And it's I gotta win, you gotta win. I'm gonna come at you, then you're gonna come at me. And then in the end, who came out on top? Like, to me, that's the wrestling part. And when we started digging into that concept, it really is everywhere we are and every person we engage with. Are we creating that dance where, give and take, I'm going to allow you to go here and then I'm going to kind of come back and go here, but it's not us. It's not you win or I win. It's we're together trying to get to an endpoint. And I think that's where this conversation started.
Awesome. So Maria and Heather, I'm going to give you a heads up.
You're going to be called on.
Y'all coming to you
Okay.
next.
Just so you know.
See how gracious I am?
Yeah, I appreciate it. He's giving y'all way more grace than he gives me.
Because normally, bam, what do you got?
You just don't know what's going to come out. So there will be a response.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we got some blue hearts in the audience.
Okay,
and
yes.
Tribe, you know the deal. Blue heart, first time, maybe not first time attending the NoBS conversation.
But
The first time
typing.
typing.
Yes.
So Miss Jordan Roberts, maybe attack's not a good word, right?
Okay, I will say everybody that's on that knows the routine is when you see a blue heart, they are for the first time getting outside of their comfort zone. Go and give them all your love. Go like them, comment, everything. Just make sure they know that this tribe is here for them. And those of you that are receiving that, just be prepared, because we have a tribe that wants to support and elevate and celebrate people all the time.
And receive it.
And receive it. Yes.
You got it.
There we go.
You got
Got to be able to receive
You
it.
gotta
So be ready.
Yep.
Be ready. We appreciate you getting outside that comfort zone and adding your name to the list, but you're going to get a lot of people surrounding you. So just be ready.
Yes. And Jordan Robert, I got to have a conversation with her earlier this week. Super awesome. Love the way she shows up. Like, the content she's posting is solid and thought-provoking. And she's cooking something up. So y'all need to keep
I heard
an eye.
about it
That's
this
all I'm
morning.
going to say. Jordan is cooking something up. Y'all need to keep an eye out for that.
Yes.
And also, we got Mr. Adam Taylor.
Good
coming in
morning.
From Rockford, Illinois. What's up, Adam?
Yes.
And again, y'all know the deal. But
Oh my
let's
gosh.
swarm them with
Look at all
love.
the freaking
Oh man, we got
comments.
more blue. Look at that. LinkedIn user.
To a couple of them. Look.
Where is it?
we got
There's another
multiple,
one.
yes.
Yeah. So I know that if you're like watching from LinkedIn, you can see the people's name. It's a StreamYard security, blah, blah, blah. So y'all know what to do. So you see the blue hearts, give them some love, do some connecting. Let's see. I want to make sure I capture all the blue hearts. Boom. Adam says, welcome, y'all. Thank you, Adam.
Yes.
Adam, DJ Hootie Hoot.
Thank you for being here. To
Thank you
keep
for
it.
being here, and like he's mourning him not being here physically present. We know we love you, Adam. So coming to Heather and Maria, this idea around wrestling and dancing, y'all decided to come and spend a weekend with us doing this like reciprocal propulsion thing, which probably made you say, what is that?
What are these crazy people
Yeah.
got up their sleeves?
And so I'm going to start with the softball. Like that decision to do it and arrange your lives to accommodate it, did that feel like a wrestle or a dance?
Nice question.
I'm gonna let you go first because neither.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
It was definitely a wrestle for me
Oh,
because I just came off of a week of being gone from my family all week. And I'm going to be traveling again next week. And I'm a mom of 6-year-old twins. And so putting myself first doesn't typically happen. And so it was a little bit of guilt feeling to be away from them again. They went to my parents, and so it helped because they were excited to go to my parents instead of "Mommy, don't leave again." That really helped. So I was like thinking that this morning, like they're having fun, I'm having fun. It's a win-win. I just need to frame it that way, continue to frame it that way in the future, so that I can have that balance.
amazing. Wow, that's
Amazing.
great. Thank you.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of emotion and stuff.
We're going to dig into that.
We're digging all into that today. And Maria, so I'll give you a couple extra seconds. And because also y'all need to be ready because Maria has like really profound responses and questions to things in general. I was experiencing that on the
No
ride up
pressure, right?
here. Yeah, no pressure. But we got another blue heart.
Oh, Sarah.
Miss Sarah, she says
Yes.
she's never been told to get out of her comfort zone. I don't, for some reason, I don't necessarily believe that.
Yeah, Sarah, I owe you a connection on the Facebook, and that'll come. But thank you so
So
much.
you know Sarah.
Well, I am connected with her on LinkedIn, and then I got yes. So I do, and thank you, and appreciate you jumping into that.
100%.
Like
You
we
know,
know it's a little scary, and we just had this conversation. We know there are people out there that are listening, and we value you, and we're excited that you're here. But we also know that first comment when you jump in, and all of a sudden now you're out there in the omniverse, and everybody sees you. That's a jump, and so we appreciate you for doing that.
yes, taking a walk on the edge of destruction.
Yes.
Thank you very much. So Maria,
Yes.
your thoughts, ma'am, on your decision to come hang?
Thank you for asking. And also your response was very beautiful. I love that. Yeah. Yes. So I had zero problem saying yes. And it wasn't, I don't think, I guess you could say dancing, but it was more like Jen says things and then I do them.
Can I get you with my two girls? Can y'all have a
Right.
conversation?
And she's like, hey, get in the car. We're going to breakfast. Okay. I don't know where we're going, who we're meeting. Hey, come to Dallas. Okay. There's a class. Okay.
Yeah.
It was like that.
Okay. So was it
So
like,
it was totally dance.
well, it could have been under duress.
What do you mean?
Like, I better say yes to Jen? Because that, like, Adam,
No.
am I wrong? Like, if we don't agree with Jen, we're in trouble. So,
Oh gosh, here we go.
I personally don't have that experience with her.
She'll just smile and be persistent.
I just open the door and I smile and people walk through the door.
Adam said it happens all the time. Thank you, brother. Thank you. I just love picking on Jen. Oh my God, look, we got more blue hearts.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, yes.
so now y'all be ready because we're fixing to go.
Hello.
You know Ann?
No, but I'm
Okay.
excited.
Oh, from San Antonio, baby, from the Deuce Dime. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, yes, welcome.
And thank you very much, folks. She gets extra special love because she's from San
Of
Antonio.
course she does.
And I'm also from San Antonio. Look, we're
Yes.
getting some love over here. Look
Oh.
at Bruce Baxton saying mega respect for working moms and double for single parent working moms.
Woo-hoo, lots of
Man,
love today.
Bruce, scoring points, bro.
Yes.
Yes. You know what? I'm going to copy that one.
Yeah.
Remember that time that I said mega respect
Uh-huh.
for working moms?
Yes, yes.
Actually, the first time I met you in person. I do.
Oh my God. Okay, so Carol, here we go. Miss Carol says, often feels like an MMA match when others do not respect boundaries.
Mhm.
Sometimes there's no option left but to say it out loud and clear. Tough love.
We told y'all, like we're gonna bring some value. They're gonna kill it.
Yes.
And Carol just brought it.
Carol don't play, man. I love Carol. Carol, thank you. Thank you. And so let's dive into it. There's the conversation of, Jen kind of gave us a precursor about the wrestling versus dancing. And I don't know if y'all know, but like I'm a pretty good salsa dancer, right? And when Jen and I started doing the live streams, in reflection, it was interesting for me, like personally thinking about what it felt like was I've co-facilitated a lot of stuff. You've co-facilitated stuff. And I know that there were probably the larger percentage of those co-facilitations that there was this battle, right? Like a fight for airtime.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
Yes.
I just did it this week and I got a plus. The delta I was given was great job herding cats.
Oh.
because people like,
Right.
and so that was a wrestle.
Mhm.
We didn't have a conversation like, hey, you get 38 minutes and I get 22 minutes. We just did the thing. And I realized afterwards, like, oh my goodness, we're not wrestling for airtime. It's also not scripted at all, right? Like the joke, this 98-year plan, there's no such thing, right? Like we're just going, we're just figuring it out and responding
It is
to.
a gen set.
Yes.
I mean, you do have to be on the couch at 8:00. That was set.
And so trying to figure out like what is it that's happening. And so when I was learning how to dance, and so here's the thing, there's this battle for airtime when we're co-facilitating. There are some dancers, they dance to be seen.
Mm.
And so they take up the space, airtime. I used to be one of those dancers. And then I finally said, wait a minute, I want to learn how to lead better, right? Because typically the guy leads. And what I had to learn to, like, I didn't need to add more steps and you better watch. I got moves, baby. Like I didn't need to add more
And
moves.
now I know what we're doing tonight.
Oh, yes. I didn't have to add more moves to my repertoire. I needed to learn how to respond to the energy of my partner.
Okay.
It didn't matter how many tricks I could do if I couldn't engage them. And it's not about me guiding them. It's about me responding to the energy that they're responding to, right? So it's this thing that circles around. So what I mean by that, in like your standard pose, your back, hands connected, back support, ladies' hands on the chest, right? And so sometimes I've got to really put some pressure to get us moving. Sometimes I feel like I'm gonna break the lady if I put any pressure. And so with every partner, there's a different type of energy and a different response to different things. And the pressure, the delay, like all of those things have to be accounted for in order for us to do the thing and have a good time about it. And I said, man, that's what's happening when Jen and I are having the live streams. And just like right now, right? I kind of like, okay, well, there's something. So that was super, I think it was a beautiful revelation in that we were able to have that situation and been doing it over a year. We both have really big personalities, right? Like the four of us have tremendous value out there, like professionally, we serve people. And so it's possible that we would be wrestling. And we are not wrestling. So that's the observation. That's kind of the background. Now, Jen, I don't know if y'all know this, but Jen is like a Hall of Honor inductee, just fresh as of yesterday. And Jen asked me to bring this up, so I'm gonna bring it up.
Yes.
So Jen was asked to speak and represent the entire team and the experience as they got inducted into this thing, which is a big deal. And I think I got to see a transition from wrestling with the whole thing to dancing with it. And like game time decision, I'm gonna dance instead of wrestle. Would you mind telling us about that, Jen?
Yes, inquiring minds.
Well, so as you're articulating all of these metaphors when it comes to dancing, two things popped in my head. It was the incorporation of the people. So how do I incorporate you and not it be me in you, like separate? And then the other is when I think about dancing sometimes, and if it's a couple's dance, there's times where, I'm spinning, I'm dipping, I'm all these things where the focus is on the other person, even though the person that is helping facilitate it is having to do the work to get the light on the other person. And that visually, I think I can see it in my head, whether you do or not. And so when you're doing that, it is that give and take. And so leading up to yesterday, thank you, Jesse, for being there. It was a pretty big ask to go and be the representative for the Hall of Honor team that was getting inducted, and didn't want to make it about myself because it was obviously I was one person of this team, and it was also 32 years ago that this team went to state, and it was just a big deal. And so this week was tough, and poor Maria had to deal with that too, but it was really emotional as I was preparing for going up there and doing the speech. More emotional than I anticipated, that I thought about. And it was like, why is this such an emotional week? I get up and talk all the time. I'm in front of people all the time. That doesn't scare me. But why am I so emotional? Why am I like anxious? And it was absolutely anxiety. And I was trying to like navigate through that, and not just keeping it inside, but voicing it multiple times to people that I trust and that are around me and that deal with my craziness all the time. And the feedback, Jesse, thank you, and Maria, is, one, you need to embrace it and not fight it. Well, wait, I need to like give into it and let it be there versus try to, keep it outside because it's not allowed. That was huge. And so I had to stop and go, okay, what does that mean? And so I was very much anticipating getting up there, getting super emotional. Y'all know my dad is not here, and he was a huge part of, just driving around and being in the games and things like that. So had to acknowledge, his presence not being there was going to be a big deal. Had my brother there. And so my girls were there. And so Jesse goes, well, Jennifer, why don't you just like own it up front? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, just, why don't you just own it? Like when you get up there, you are in a very, delicate state right now when it comes to the things you're going to talk about. Just own it up front. And that way, everything that happens after that, like everybody's expecting it. And I'm like, ooh. Mm-hmm. And so I thought about it. What does that mean? And Jesse was there just like, you actually did it. But he's like, I don't know if I was expecting that, but I got up there early and I said, it doesn't matter who's going to be up here. Like, this is going to be a very emotional speech. There's going to be people that this is going to impact them differently, and it's already impacting me. So just be prepared. And then I was able to go into my speech and not worry about how I reacted. My voice cracked. The emotional piece of it that all my team was feeling, my coaches were feeling. It fed into the speech, and it fed into the energy that I was able to bring and talk about. And it changed the dynamic of me wrestling with this feeling inside of me that I shouldn't have because I have all this experience. And so it like literally happened in the moment. So.
Yeah, I'm going to give a little more detail than that. And then I'll let you off the hook, Jen.
I appreciate it.
So Jen got up there and she said, it was amazing. And she said, this is going to be tough. It's a very emotional situation. These ladies behind me are my sisters. The coaches were my mother. And my dad was there and he's not here anymore. And it was like, I mean, I can give you chills right now, like straight up. And then that opened up for an amazing speech, an amazing delivery, because y'all know Jen's got game. My observation was leading up to it, it was the wrestling with, you all right?
Yeah, I'm good. Yes, I'm refilling everything that led up to it. Yes.
My observation is we do this thing, and so there's a question to the tribe. Keep the chat coming, and y'all, I know there's a whole other conversation going in there that I'm missing right now, and I love that even more. And so coming to Maria and Heather.
Oh.
So the I think the most general dance, and I got asked this question the other day, we were talking about on the ride. I got asked what my motivation was for like doing what I do. And I didn't give a complete answer, and I continue to think about it. But there's a wrestle, back to Jen's thing, between having a line between the personal, emotional being that we are and what we should be in the public eye.
Mm.
Is that fair?
Mhm, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, Omniverse, please let us know what you think. And again, coming to y'all, heads up. So the question is, what are you doing? What have you tried to transition from wrestling with that to dancing with it?
Nice.
Yeah, the internal portion.
The internal portion, because that's like the most important part, right? Like all this stuff that's happening in here. Is that?
Oh, it is. And it was internal all the way up until I had the conversations. I'm just like, why? And literally my first, I don't know why I'm feeling this way. Like, I don't know why I'm struggling with this.
Yeah. So Jen needed help to demo the divide. And that's the thing, right? It's this divide, self-imposed division that we want to have between the personal, human, soulful element that we are and what we should be in the public eye.
Mm-hmm.
Who
Yes.
wants to go? I think it's Maria's turn this time.
It is my turn. I hope you be fair. Okay, you're welcome. Just for
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so do we have the question? All right, how do you transition from wrestling to dancing internally?
Yes.
This is my question.
Yes.
Okay, so as we have been talking about this, like the 24 hours, okay, I was thinking about it, and I was noticing that I am switching from wrestling to dancing, but it's a long road, a big road, and I think I'm probably at the beginning is where I feel comfortable with that. But I don't know about how. I think it has a lot to do with other self-discoveries, right? Like if I know who I am or my worth and how I should deserve to be treated, right? Then those are the kind of things that help me not feel like I have to wrestle.
Mm.
And so I am allowed to dance.
Ooh, allowed to dance. That's
Yeah.
Okay. Allowed by who?
Myself, right? Okay. And then another problem on top of that would be the fact that I've been physically dancing alone since about 2007. And I love it. So I don't know how I don't know how to think about dancing with a partner. I gotta give someone.
I like that. That's a whole, that
You're gonna
opens
have
a
to
can
go
of worms there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
You're welcome.
nice. Yes. Miss Heather.
Okay, so what I'm seeing is the transition from the wrestling to the dancing, and the example I see that you gave was like being transparent with who you are inside to those around you. And like, I'm not going to just put this front up of where things are. I'm just going to be like real in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And so where I've seen that, I feel like I'm starting to, probably more so over the last year, as I've learned a lot more about myself. It's only taken 42 years.
Snaps.
To like be genuine and be transparent. And, the question the introductions, right? It's like, hey, how are you doing? And everybody's great. And it's just automatic response. Well, don't ask me that if you don't want to really know, because I'm probably going to be honest. And if I'm not 100% honest, I'm going to go, I've been better, or I'll hold back a little bit, but I'm not going to I've started to not just be, I'm great, I'm good, and try to bring some realness or authenticity really to that question. Because I think that's where we all need to start, is being willing to, like, if you don't want to know, don't ask. And if you're asking, just think that people really want to know, how are you doing?
And listen.
And listen.
Yeah.
And listen.
Such a
Yeah.
radical idea. Yeah.
That's not the easiest.
Listen. No, I just wanted to put my thing out there, and
Yes.
it's true.
All right, so I'm gonna give y'all some breathing room and go to the
got some
chats.
amazing
Miss
comments.
Carol says, I no longer feel any form of fear to look like a fallible human being.
Yes.
Ooh, what do you think about that? It took a big old breath.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, like, I'll say for me, right, that's the thing, is like, am I gonna look like a fool?
Or are you going to look weak?
Am I gonna look weak? Are people gonna am I going to be excluded after this? All right, because I like community. I like being a part of everything. Just like Adam liked being a part of this, but he wasn't able to make it. Sarah says, what is the fear of showing your full self? Ooh, girl, thank you, Sarah. I had this earlier in my career. Once I started sharing more, people related to me much more. And Jen, I think she's asking you. That, like, she just didn't type in Jennifer.
The fear of showing your real self, a full self, is I can only speak from me, and that is being in an industry, construction industry, which a lot of us are, not everyone, but a lot of us are. You're looking sometimes at how you're showing up is, I'm looking for validation. I'm looking for, recognition. I'm looking for, what value do I add? How do I contribute? How do I become someone that is needed? And when you show up that way, when you're asking yourself those questions, because whether you don't feel that way or you've got to prove something, your fear is, okay, one, am I not going to do those things? And two, if I do too much of something, is it then going to devalue me? And there's a whole lot of words in that. For me, the fear was, how do I give just enough to where they see value, but I don't overdo it because of me and my personality and all the ideas and all the things that I think could happen. And they're just like, hold up, slow down. And then it becomes like, that they're fearful of me and what I could do, or, where we could go. That would be a change, that would change a mind or change somebody's attitude or whatever. And I hate to say it, it's a dance where it's like, how do you show up your true self, but don't give too much to where it scares the crap out of people and they leave.
That you're not overwhelming.
Yes.
Ooh.
And I don't know how to, I do. I know how to temper that. I just don't do it well.
You're not overwhelming.
Thank you.
Yeah, agree. Hard agree.
Hard agree?
Hard agree.
Yeah.
Heart with the T or a D?
Oh.
D.
Oh. Both.
Both. Hard agree.
See, there's that bilingual thing.
Sarah says, I get it. It's a balance. So here's an observation. I wonder if anybody else has seen this. When we ask somebody a really penetrating question, some of the pronouns that we use, when I hear people, and this is something I work on, like, intentionally, it takes significant energy. People will say, and I heard Jen say it, and I want to point it out, not to pick on you, but to raise our awareness, to elevate our awareness, especially as this, like, the transition, the demoing of the divide, is I've been asked, or I'm responding to a very personal question, something that's intimate to me, unique to me, that only I've experienced, or it's only my perspective. And what I'll say is, when you're going through this, what you want to do, or what it feels like, or you want, and it's you. But this is not a you, this is a me conversation, right? And so I just think that's a question to the tribe out there. Is that something you ever noticed, or is that just me because I'm weird that way? But I think it's one of those subconscious, or maybe those conditioned things, like another layer of defense that we're just not aware of, that we speak. When I'm speaking of me, I speak about you.
Ooh, I like that, but I also, yes, and I also believe that for me, when I think about how I respond that way, it's because when I feel we are doing this, I'm empowered to be able to say things, and I feel like I can say more because we together are trying to overcome something, or we together, even though it could be my personal experience, but I feel like I have the people around me that are helping. And so it almost makes me feel like I can go a little further, push a little more, and that they have my back. So I think I do it subconsciously, but I also know that when I say we, it is real. That when I say we in the construction industry, we have to show up. Like I'm saying that because we, I know conversations with you, we have had to do that. So I think for me, yes, it's also a defense mechanism just to not be on this island by myself. But I also know when I say that sometimes it's because I have felt and have the conversations with the other people that know they're there with me.
Yes. Fair.
You're not alone.
And maybe the English can help us out here, but isn't there a huge difference between you and you universal?
Oh,
right?
I'm
just talking about you, because I switched my language a few years ago. I guess we'll just say a few years. I can't remember which one. Okay.
They all kind of blur together.
Yeah, they're together. To more collective, right? Who's the we? Because we are doing it. So even in my emails, and I'm one person, right? I say, let us know if you have any trouble. Now that might be me, myself, but let us know.
So maybe this is the thought then. Have you ever thought about examining the words you're using, and am I hiding behind it? Or is there purpose? What's the purpose of selecting that language? Or am I even selecting it? Right? Is it what is that? I mean, y'all know I'm my favorite subject. So I spend a lot of time journaling, writing, thinking, examining why I say things, how I say things, and I believe it helps me be more present, be more vulnerable, because I understand. But at the same time, I do feel like the Chewy video, right? Chewy's a hit. He's doing all right. He's getting a little too big for his britches right now. But before I posted it, posting it on TikTok, not a problem. Posting it on Facebook, who cares? Instagram, who cares? But I wanted to post it on LinkedIn. And now I found myself. I wrestled with
Yes, we had that conversation.
Because, it links into professional space. And so I was like, why am I worried about this? I do things, it's got to be fun, right? It's got to be fun. It's got to be in service to others. And it met that mark in Jesse land anyways. I was like, well, post the damn thing. What am I afraid of? Well, the answer was I was afraid of losing favor, losing connection, losing not necessarily credibility, but being discounted or excluded from anything, right? And it's only digital stuff. No, not yet. Okay, so Justin says, going from wrestling to dancing, is not letting the fear control. Yes. Is not letting the fear control your moves, but acknowledging you are doing it scared.
Whoa.
Thank you.
Yes.
Let's say that again.
Yeah.
Going from wrestling to dancing is not letting the fear control your moves, but acknowledging you are doing it scared. Going from I'm doing this to I'm doing this while I'm scared and nervous.
I mean, we talked about that. Like, I just had to okay, this is gonna suck, and let's go.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, you were talking about this earlier, Jennifer, about so there's dance, and maybe we'll frame it in terms of freestyle dance and choreographed dance.
Mhm.
Okay.
What did you mean? Like, what does that look like? The choreographed dance idea that you were talking
Okay,
about?
well, Adam's not on today, so we can't use him as a reference, and he can't speak and defend himself. So I'm going to focus on him. And so, when we think about the choreography, when we talk about dancing, it is a lot of scripted. Here's the step for this. Here's the step for that. We got to make sure you're in your spot. Okay, this is you go here, you don't go here. This is your boundaries, things like that. And that's a lot of how we have to show up. That's a lot of places we walk into, the agendas, the plan, the goal, here's the policy, here's the procedure, here's the
The
things that,
corporate world.
right. And I mean, yes, yes, in a couple of words, but those are things that we have to live with, and we can't just go, don't really care about that. And so we have to live within that bubble and understand those things and know these are the, whether it's the boundaries, the guardrails, things like that. And then the freestyle part is, okay, then I'm just going to show up and we're going to do it. And so in my mind, Adam, Jesse, I'm just seeing, I get to see and watch this wrestling, dancing, freestyling, very choreographed. I get to watch and live in that world. And it's how uncomfortable it makes Adam when we're freestyling. and how pushed back, not okay it is for Jesse when it's scripted. And literally I get to watch this whole thing all the time. And so when when I say it, that's exactly what I mean.
Yes.
I feel that between my team or some people that I work with, I am the free dance and they are so much the scripted, and it is a wrestling match between the no and it's often perceived as flying by the seat of your pants, but it's I think being genuine in the moment and being real versus it has to be perfect and it has to be this certain way.
Oh, okay. So we're going to go there. Thank
Yes.
you, ma'am.
And
So-
I got a movie reference that before we close that kind of plays into this. So I'm
Good.
excited. Another cartoon. So excited. Another animated movie.
All right, y'all. So NoBS Tribe. Oh, here we go.
Okay.
Adam says I can fix that.
I know you can.
Does he say I have a plan?
Yes.
I've seen the transition. I don't want to throw him under the bus too bad. I've seen the transition and he's learning.
Yes, it truly is we are one and the same and together can conquer the, hey man,
Hey.
girl. Yes. Yes.
City.
Yes,
Yes.
so I will say this, being exposed, us, the way we do things, and Adam, I got you, bro. Jen acts like she's just this observer, right? But Adam and I know LCI Jen, which is and I got video that I'll never release of her getting prepared for a presentation at Congress. And I know Taco Mode Jen, which I don't have video of that, but she contributes to the stuff as well. So anyhow, just,
I've got labels. Y'all just have a style. I got labels already. Dang it.
but so being exposed to that, right? Understanding that there is value in maybe one or two lines of a script, maybe an outline. It's helped me expand my thinking and add that. Not totally adopt it, but it's helped me there's value there. Let me incorporate that into my mode of operation. Now, I want to be very clear, y'all. I'm here with these ladies and they are powerful, accomplished, professionals that lead change in the organizations that they're at, in the worlds that they live, professionally and personally, right? Mothers and like, I'm the day laborer here, like in terms of what they accomplish and work through on a daily basis. And I say that, one, to honor y'all, because y'all are amazing. Thank you for letting me, like, not making me sleep on the deck outside. But two, I know that the tribe is comprised of a lot of meaningful, hardworking change leaders, right? And so that's part of us being here at the cabin, is we're change leaders from almost different worlds, and we're going to connect and figure out how to support each other going forward. It's one element. But the other element, back to Heather's comment about you're leading change. You represent change to everybody that sees you. They know that when Heather comes, damn it. Right? Am I wrong?
Nope.
Okay.
And they know I'm not going to give up in no way.
That's my favorite.
And even within your team, right? The people that are also leading change also see Heather's like, "Phew." And so this thing that we get to see, and the observation you made, I agree 100%. There's a rub where that wrestle comes in between let's experiment and figure it out, or no. We need to design the perfect deployment method before we do anything. Is that, I mean, it's pretty.
Yes. And I've seen and experienced the negative side of not the design, when, a company rolls out a new initiative and it's not thought through, and then people start to use it, and then it gets changed again. And as soon as they start to think that they know how to do it, all of a sudden it's changed. And there's definitely, in that situation, a real need to have something planned and thought out, because how are you going to, how are people going to receive it? Are they going to get on board if it's halfway developed?
Mm-hmm. That sounds familiar. I'm sorry, go ahead.
That was
it?
Yeah, that was it.
Maria, did that sound familiar at all?
What do you mean?
The rolling out of something maybe half-hearted or prematurely or poorly,
Half-baked?
half-baked?
Yeah? What about it? Can you be more specific, please?
Yeah, have you ever dealt with that? I mean,
Have I ever dealt with
yes.
that? Have I personally ever rolled anything out half-baked?
Or had to come in and do some baking?
Yes. Yes.
What was that like?
It was frustrating, and it was a different time in my life. I can say that. Mostly I was not only frustrated because I needed to figure everything out and fix it and then give it to everybody to use, but because they were so frustrated and rightly upset, right? And especially when you're talking about something that touches money, that's even more upsetting and high emotional level, right? And then you throw due dates on top of money and it's explosive. So that was a different time. And I will say it's been over a year since the changes were final. And I still run into people that go, "Oh, that's fixed? I didn't know that."
Right, because all they remember is the first initial.
The trouble.
The first contact.
They remember the
Yep.
trouble. And it doesn't matter
First
how,
impressions,
yeah,
period.
it doesn't matter how calm I am, how communicative I am or transparent, like, hey, this is exactly what happened, or it wasn't even this software that messed my software up. It was somebody else's. And they did the thing, and it's over here messing me up, right? And another part of that was the fact that we were literally tearing down I don't know how long construct of what they had been doing for the financial reports.
Right.
And I, basically came in and said, "Hey guys, by the way, this is now called something different in the modern world, and that's what we're going to call it." Right? And on top of it being an entirely different aesthetic for your report and which column do you look at and all that other stuff, it was a journey.
Okay, can I just add to that real quick?
Yes.
And so There's a lot. At one, organizational change. Let's just hit that one. Like organizational
Yes.
change. And Heather hit it on just when you're rolling things out, when you're doing something different, something that people are not comfortable with or used to. Or when you think about organizational change, how you roll it out and what that looks like and the structure that is put in place. Like, to me, structure is the word, and I use that word a lot because when the skeleton that has to be created, that everything else is built around and stuff like that, like that is important. And that structure means there's still flexibility. There's still things that you're not just scripting every little piece and part, but you need to be really clear on what that structure is, what it looks like, how it's going to grow, how it's going to evolve. Because sometimes we have an initiative or we have something and we want to just roll it out, and then it's like, here it is. And Heather hit on this, here it is. And if we are not clear on here's the first step, here's how we're going to start, here's level one, whatever those are, we've got to be clear on that, because change is hard, change is scary, change is fearful, and it's life. All of us, in this world, like in this space, we're okay, we understand change is inevitable, but there's also people that have been doing things the same way for 20, 25 years and been successful. Mm-hmm. And so when we come in talking about change, talking about something different, and not have those real conversations and not acknowledge the wins and the successes, but also know, hey, we're going to be shifting, we're going to be pivoting, we're going to be moving in this direction because of this. And this is the first step, or this is, we don't even know what it's going to be. Like, that's hard for an organization to own, that we don't even know what the end game is. And there may never be an end game, but we know we want to move in this direction. You need to be clear and communicate that. And I think just within my own organization, once we own that and we communicated that, the change wasn't as hard, and it wasn't as hard to accept. And it wasn't as hard to kind of, okay, I'll put my toe in. Okay, I will, go in, I will, see what I can do with this, because they weren't scared to fail. So I just think we have to make sure we're communicating what that structure looks like, and, that there may not be an end game.
Yeah, I think the wrestle, for me, the wrestle starts with the last thing that you said, is the fear of failing. And so what I mean by that is the freestyle, right? Like, it's experiment. There is a fear of failing. And actually, what do you say? Framework freestyle, FTWL 10-4. Yes, 100%. And so I think, here's my observation, and this is not a judgment. This is how I kind of manage myself, is I do and have struggled with, let's make it perfect. Let's make sure everybody's going to be happy and love it. And all those ideas, guess where they're at? They're still in my head. Like, they haven't been released.
Right.
And so putting it out there, and I just frame everything in experiments. And like James Gable said,
I was just going to say,
actually,
man,
it works perfect.
Like perfect to what you just said.
So James says, as a recovering perfectionist, I have recently adopted the mindset where I like to be proven wrong. When I'm proven wrong, I'm actually becoming more right in the process. Right?
Oh. Wow.
So that in my head, it's like, okay, I have an idea. We're going to experiment with it. And I'm going to learn. And so maybe there's two things that you've said that kind of triggered this. Is one, it's the fear of failing. For me, it's not the fear. I fail all the time.
Yeah.
Right. And just like James is saying, like, I get proven wrong all the time, and I get more right in the process. Mm-hmm. My fear is abandonment and being disowned.
Which is why you were scared to put Chewy out on LinkedIn.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's my fear. Not fear of failure, my fear of being excluded, ostracized, whatever. That's my fear. But I am going to learn by doing the damn thing. Mm-hmm. Right. And so there's one thing, what you said. So we talked about the courage and getting righter as we go. And so that ties into the, like, all I can do, and what I've decided to think and help my mode of operation is take the next rightest step. Because that's all we can do, right? Is make a decision based on all the information I have right now, this seems like the rightest thing to do. Now, as that relates to me fighting with the perfectionist thing or wanting to make it right, that's the wrestle. And I think the wrestle is an internal, right? Because we can really quickly start talking about organizational change and what that is and the dynamics and politics and people and like, yes. And you know what? There's tons of articles about that. Go read that. I want to talk about like us as an individual, cause some introspection around what is the fear? Because for me, here's the question. I framed it as fear of failure, but just like any problem, and we're going to be doing that today here, I'm going to be peeling those layers back. I'm not afraid of failing because I know I learned from that. I'm afraid of being abandoned.
Or not accepted.
And not accepted, excluded, right? And then that makes me feel less than. So Omniverse, oh, here we got a comment. Adam says, like someone else said, you'll be abandoned by people who don't belong and find your true tribe. Amen, Adam, right? Because me doing that, posting Chewy and doing the things that I do, it has the compound effect of attracting and repelling. It attracts the people that I jive with, that can tolerate my stuff, the people that don't tell me you're too much.
Sorry. You mean that celebrate you?
They celebrate me.
They don't tolerate you. They celebrate
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
They celebrate me. Thank you.
I just want to take a moment right now and just again recognize what Jesse's talking about and what he's just said. And I mean, we're in a space right now, and I'm going to say it's a safe space with like-minded people that have been, some of you on this journey with us for over a year. And we've seen Jesse in different places and celebrated and loved on him. And on LinkedIn specifically. And he is owning that he had to stop and like wrestle that putting something out there would be people that would push him aside and abandon him and ostracize him. Like for someone who's already in this space and he's dancing with fishnets and all these things, yet it's still, even though he's found himself and he's continuing to find himself, it's still a moment to where he had to like stop and like, okay, should I do this? Should I not do this? Like even when we think we've got it figured out or we see it, there's still something in the back of our head that's like that moment of, am I going to be accepted? And are people going to still love me? Are they still going to care about me? Like that's Jesse in a safe space. Can you imagine how our people show up to work? How our people walk into meetings? How our people walk into a space that they've been on a job for a year and a half, or they've been working in a department for 3 or 4 years, and come in and go, well, they should just know that. They should just expect that. Why would they worry about that? And right now we're witnessing Jesse telling you and talking to you about something he was scared of, to go on LinkedIn, and everyone on here loves on him and celebrates him, and he was still fearful of that. Like that's real, and that's like all of us. That's life, and we can't like just discount it.
I share those feelings sometimes, but that feeling part is so strong that I have never stopped to consider that the other people in my space are experiencing that. Because it was so big, like that was so big right here. And I was like, okay, let's make sure. All right, this is okay. And I wasn't thinking about anybody else doing that. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Yeah.
Heather's like this. What's going on over there?
Man, let me see if I can articulate it.
Right?
Yeah, I'm gonna need to think on that a
Some
little.
time.
Yeah.
Thank you for expressing that.
Yes, I love it. So LinkedIn user says, wrestling to dancing, sometimes when you're pushed, you have to pull. When you're pulled, sometimes you have to push. But at any moment, you can also just turn and circle, right?
Hey.
So I had a conversation with Cindy Becerra, and she was talking about jujitsu, which is also this How do we leverage the energy and momentum or resistance of the other person? There it is. She says, wrestling tends to make us get hung up on the details and push against each other. Dancing, we move with each other. And that's that. Thank you, Cindy. Beautifully. It is, how is this a we thing? How do we keep it being we? How do we achieve this inclusive state of operating? Steve Martin says, wrestling. Oh my goodness.
I know,
yes.
right?
Yeah. Oh man, yes. So
Thank you, brother.
the goal is winning in wrestling. Dancing is about enjoying. Breakthrough, having others in your life who are willing to wrestle with you, not to win or lose, but to make everyone involved better. Sparring
Wow.
I'm
partners.
sorry, did he just promote wrestling in a healthy way?
He did.
Thank you, Steve.
Well, so let's talk about that, right? So wrestling in a healthy way to help us get better and help us expand our
We have to
knowledge.
challenge each other to
See,
raise
Adam,
up.
it's okay.
Mhm. And that takes a lot of bravery. and
Yeah.
courage.
So how easy is it for you to challenge?
It's you have to have the trust there and have the relationship with the person to that they know if you're challenging them, it's to bring them up and it's for a positive and not challenging them because you maybe don't trust them and you're trying to break them down. And I had a coworker one time that line was very fluid.
Yeah.
And I think it's because we were similar. We were friends, but we worked together and but we challenged each other. And the point that you made a minute ago about, let's see if I can go back to that. Like how you've got all this following and support in LinkedIn and you're still scared in that supportive environment and talking about people coming in from a project and stuff. And we experience it every day with the little jabs.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was teaching this class around, and the topic that we were talking on at that moment was humble inquiry.
Ooh.
And I am not a speller. And so I had something misspelled on the slide. And somebody's like, oh, look, that's completely wrong. And then somebody piped up and said, oh, we're in construction. She probably put that together last night. And so they just kind of built. And there were like 4 or 5 bullet points that I was trying to cover on the slide. And I just hit next slide. And I wasn't even consciously aware that I did that. And someone called it out and said, hello, guys, did you see what just happened? We're talking about humble inquiry. And she felt so threatened that she didn't even finish talking on the topics and just moved on to the next one.
Mm.
And it was so powerful. And somebody's like, oh, she did that on purpose. She planted that. And I was like, I didn't. And then somebody came back and said, you need to keep that in here for the training. But I am self-conscious about, because I was just corrected yesterday. And about being corrected in that failing that I've had my whole life. And I've started to just own it. It's a meeting ground rule. If it's written, it's right. And I joke about it and I write it completely wrong. And it's probably because I didn't know I wrote it wrong in the first place. But I finally just own it most of the time. But when I'm in that mode of trying to present and talk to people and the vulnerability of doing that and just getting attacked, but it's perceived as, oh, it's just fun, friendly banter. We're gonna poke.
But it hurts. It still hurts.
But it hurts. And I didn't even realize how much it impacted me until it was brought to my attention.
So subconsciously, okay, let's hide the mistake.
Let's hide the mistake.
Let's go.
Let's
Let's
keep
keep going because this is bringing me pain.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't even aware.
You
Yes.
think, Jen?
It's that hiding that weakness, hiding that thing that makes us less than someone else. I'm just going to tell you, Everyone out there doesn't know it yet. None of us are perfect. Every one of us are going to fail. Every one of us are going to screw up some things. I mean, it's just, and I can say that we all, I can use all those pronouns because that is life. And if any of us want to
That's
walk into
human.
a room and start pointing fingers and calling out what other people are doing, I mean, if that's your thing, again, you're not going to have a lot of friends. And two, is that adding value? It makes you feel better. It gives you some credibility that you can spell a word. That's great. But also, like, what value are you adding to the conversation? So take a step back. What's the goal? What's the objective of why everyone's in that room? And are you adding value?
Yes.
And we really need to stop and have that moment before we speak and say something that can completely tear somebody down.
Yes. So Carol says, I think Nike has it right. Just do it to the best of your ability in the moment. And
Wow.
Heather, you said it, right? It's human. And so I think this is the personal struggle or introspection I want to leave people with is just do it, meaning just be human. You said earlier, you talked about giving yourself permission.
Right.
Why? What is it that's causing you to wrestle with just being human?
Me, past conditioning.
So you have, and we've had good conversations. So like you have a deep understanding of what that is.
Mhm.
Is everyone else there? I mean, you just talked about like, oh man, I have this experience, and I never even considered that other people were having the same experience.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think that's the question is what's causing us to wrestle with just being human? Because everybody knows we're all just human.
Grade school, being picked on, being bullied.
Okay.
Starts at the beginning. We're
Yes.
conditioned to, like, my girls are homeschooled right now, so they've not experienced that. So they are themselves and they don't temper what they're going to say or how they're going to act for fear of how are people going to receive it or perceive it. They're genuine. And then we go out into the schools and life, and people react, and they react negatively. And so we don't want that anymore. So I'm going to hide that piece, or I'm going to temper that, or I'm going to polish it up.
Mm-hmm. So because, and that, I think it's a natural thing, right? Inevitable, well, maybe not inevitably, because we could design our life to where we don't interact with the general public, like the world, and that's okay. But when we do, my feelings are gonna get hurt, right? I'm a sensitive, delicate flower. But what happens in response to that? Like, so I know it's gonna happen. But what's happened in response, the conditioning becomes me suppressing my instincts. The things that bring me, like that are the realest me, the most authentic version of whatever I am, starts getting, let me soften that up and let me polish up that edge and da-da-da-da-da. And so then it becomes this manufactured, fabricated version of what's really within me. Mm-hmm. And I've lived that life. Bruce says ego is the enemy. Yeah. And the problem with me living that version is the level or degree of fulfillment that I have is like this. And so what it does for me is I am not serving in the manner I'm designed to serve because I've suppressed my instinct. Because I got my feelings hurt. So then the question became for me, and back to Jen touched on it, I'm going to get my damn feelings hurt anyways.
The only thing you can do is control how you respond and react.
100%.
My grandfather said that his whole life.
Yes. Yes.
We had this conversation yesterday on the way up here, and it scares me to death, but it also gives me hope. And we were having conversations. Alex, she's 11. She was riding in the car with us, and there were conversations she was having about experiences at school oh, that's a pick me person, or or this girl makes me so mad, and she does that, whatever. But it was not any different than conversations, Maria and Jesse and I were having regarding workplace and things like that. And so like just the dynamics of the scary part is we were having the same type of conversations that an 11-year-old was having. That's a little scary. But to the hope that in those conversations, she was able to listen and observe and see, okay, is there a better way? Or what can I do in these situations that can make it better for me? And so like having those conversations for her now and how she's going to show up is going to impact, how she goes through school. And it goes back to Heather with that dynamic and how she engages with other kids and how she receives those things and then how she responds to those things. And so like it's hopeful, it's scary. So to me, just that dynamic and the things we're talking about, don't forget these kids are watching, they're listening, and we are helping them with their life skills. And so are you having these conversations with them?
I say that part again, helping them with their life skills.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're figuring it out at 36, whatever it is. Okay. Tell somebody younger than you.
Ask the question, right? Have the conversation. So we got 5 minutes. Oh, let's see. Bradley says emotional engineering really needs to be a minor option in school. Just a crib course or survey class, but a chance to have the idea opened up early in a person's development.
Absolutely.
Man, Bradley's always got some heavy
Well, and
stuff.
Steve Martin had some. I know you pulled it up earlier, Adam, but it was solid, and it talked just about the dancing, the transition from between wrestling, and it just that we don't need to be so it's got to be this or it's got to be this. I feel like everything we do is flow, everything we do is fluid, and just we've got to make sure we're able to live in those spaces and in that give and take. It's just we've got to find that.
Yes. For me. This will be the closing question, and we actually here. I'll say it this way: I'm going to invite Chief Marketeer Steve or whomever from the tribe. If you're willing and up to creating the online live chat conversation thing, please do so, because the four of us will not be on the after party. So if you're up for creating the NoBS after party, do it, please, because we're going to be diving into some other more vulnerable stuff. And this just started picking at the scab. We're going to keep going.
And breakfast.
We got to have some breakfast. And so here's the closing question for everybody up here, except for me, is it possible to continually transition from wrestling to dancing to wrestling based on circumstances? Once we get to dancing, does it become automatically easier? Who's going first?
Well, I'll go first just because this is easy. Because
Jesse,
I think explained this in that I don't think it ever becomes automatically easier. We get a little more comfortable, and then that comfort zone expands. And then now, okay, what does it take for us to get outside of that comfort zone? And I think Jesse exhibited that today and talked about that Justin, you've been on so many of our after parties, and we've talked through a lot of these things where, Jesse is a master dancer, and he's talked about those. He's also talked about things he's wrestled with. And even today, wrestling with putting out a LinkedIn post. Like, let's just put that in perspective. Like, he's still wrestling and dancing and having that moment where it's like, okay, do I do it? Do I not do it? So I don't know if it ever just gets to the point to where this is automatic and this is easy and I'm not worried about it because we are human.
Very good. Okay. Nice. All right. Yes, I think it's totally possible because I experience the transition multiple times a day, right? Being around other people, because you can be in an office, there's a few people there, right? And so there might be several other personalities or different points that they are on their journey that makes those situations different, right? And then within those relationships, we may be transitioning from wrestling to dancing. And so that's another part. Now, as far as easier, I'm just going to talk about this internally. Well, okay, I can speak to it externally. Yes, it gets easier externally because once you know the person, I'd say with the exception is meeting new people. Because you have to learn what it is that they're going to be. Are they the wrestler or are they the dancer?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you don't know. And then once you know, you can kind of go from there. Internally, I wouldn't say easier. I would say more clear. Right? So like the times when I get to my struggle, in the beginning, I would spend longer and bigger time going back and forth. And now as it progresses, it's a shorter time and yeah, more clear.
Awesome.
I would say you're definitely going back and forth. Like I mentioned earlier with, that person that you've got the trust built up that you're dancing with, but you also want to continue to wrestle with new ideas or new challenges and bring them up that, and like you say, like it depends on the people you're with, or you're in your element and you're dancing around and you're leading that charge and it's going great, or then you're trying to do something new and you're wrestling with yourself with, is this the right thing, or how do I do this right, or what does this look like? I think every day, depending on the situation, you're going back and forth and back and forth. And I feel like it gets easier because the more you're willing to step out of that comfort zone or to challenge that person because you started to build that trust or that relationship, to call them out, to ask them. I did it just on Thursday. Someone in a much higher leadership position gave a suggestion, a recommendation, and I challenged them. And they came back and said, thanks for challenging me on that. You're right. This is the right decision. And that was, we've gotten to the point that I feel like I have that trust to have that dance but at the same time, really, I think that was more of a wrestle. Do I challenge that leader, that person of authority, because I don't think that's the right move? And do I put myself out there? So.
Yes. I'll close with yes. And actually, I think it's necessary. I think there's tremendous value to be able to freestyle, to be able to do choreography, and to be able to wrestle, because there are times where, I don't know if you've ever seen the old cartoon with Foghorn Leghorn and the dog, right? Like, okay, they're friends afterwards, but when all right, we're going to work and we're going to wrestle.
Right.
And I got to be able, being able all right, we're going to go, let's go. We're going to go hard. I'm down. Let's make this thing happen has been very valuable for me. Being able to do the choreographed dancing, but being able to do that gives me more access, right? I get to learn new things. I get to contribute in different avenues. And then the freestyle, that's just kind of where I live. So here's the point, is the reason I want to talk about this is because a lot of us are wrestling all the time. Or a lot of us are freestyling all the time. And there is value to add to our toolbox, right? Let's start testing these things. And the reason I'm suggesting to test it is because it can enhance, or it has enhanced, my quality of life. And I believe it will do the same thing for you.
Yes.
Yesenia, go ahead.
No. I before we close, I have homework for people.
Oh.
That could lead to our next another live stream. So no, I just have homework before we do the pillows.
Okay, so one thing, and then Jen's closing it down. There's been a lot of comments about me salsa dancing. So clearly you haven't subscribed to my fans only page first. And second, there'll be some video, something of us salsa dancing in the near future. Thank you. So keep an eye out.
And so it's been almost, a little over a year before we had homework involving animated movies. And so it's about time for us to do another one. And so if you have not, or I recommend you watch it again, Sing 2.
Really?
So if you have, I need you to watch the movie, because so much of that movie, choreographing, freestyling, fear of failure, being less than, how you show up, what that looks like. There's so much of what we talked about today that's in there, and I don't want to give too much away because you got to watch the whole movie. But I would watch it. What did you take away from it? And that, we may do a live stream that focuses on that movie, because there's so much of what we talked about today.
Boom.
As Jesse said earlier, and Anna has quoted, do the next right thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
That was
Awesome.
service.
We are ending the broadcast.
Okay.
Thank you.
Peace. And the broadcast.